welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We are here every week talking movies inspired by the world of physical media and beyond. My name is Kurt.
My name is Sam.
We are also joined by Kimberly, our producer, who is back. She was in Europe. Hello, Kim.
Hello, I'm just trying to get rid of this jet lag, but I'm here and drinking coffee.
Kim, we're happier, home, safe, and sound.
Thank you. Happy to be here. It sounds like when I was gone, just Panic Room went off the rails, so happy to be back.
9-hour episode on Panic Room.
Yeah, and if anybody cares, the unedited audio will be available for your listening pleasure.
Our Patreon someday.
We're happy you're back so you can keep us more in line, Kim.
Yeah.
Today we are talking the new 4K release from Kino Lorber of Brian De Palma's 1998 mystery thriller Snake Eyes, starring Nicolas Cage. And we have a very special guest who will be joining us for that conversation. Sam, who's going to be here?
We'll be joined by my good friend Emma Tiemann from the band Murdered by Death. She is their merch person and also plays violin in the band, and will be joining us for the conversation on Snake Eyes and Nicolas Cage, two of her favorite topics.
Emma, I believe, has been on a journey watching all of Nicolas Cage's films with some of her friends in chronological order.
What a massive undertaking.
A life's work.
Truly.
She is physical therapy's resident Nicolas Cage expert.
A lot of announcements have come out. We're just going to highlight a couple of them. Kurt, what do you want to start with?
My God, Sam, Criterion.
Ooh, baby.
We're recording this podcast on Saturday. Yesterday, they announced Sorcerer. William Friedkin's Sorcerer is coming out on 4K from Criterion.
I cannot wait.
Did I wish for this? I think so.
I think you did, yeah.
This is just an unbelievably tense movie about people driving dynamite, rickety, unstable dynamite through a South American jungle, starring Roy Scheider. This is Friedkin's follow-up to The Exorcist. Very underrated, underseen masterpiece from the 70s. That's all I can think about, Sam. There's been others. What do we got?
It looks like The Strangers with Candy movie is at least getting a Blu-ray or 4K release. Can't wait for that. And my big one is Grindhouse releasing, also yesterday, put up their pre-order for Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. One of his most well-known movies, if not his most well-known. I'd say this or Zombie, but this has been in the works for a while. A crazy, trippy Italian zombie gore hell movie that is just next level and awesome. It's got some incredibly iconic shots and visuals in this movie. I think it's going to look phenomenal on 4K, and I cannot wait.
Nasty stuff. Anything to confess, Sam, this week?
Kurt and I were just talking. We both had very long, intense work weeks. I allowed mine to kind of break my brain in half and my wallet. I've been so good. I've only been sticking to sales, and that all went out the window.
What'd you get?
I took a page from your book, and I started to upgrade a couple titles.
Never a good idea, Sam, to take a page from my book on this subject.
It was a bad idea. But the Rogue One 4K came back into print.
I got it too.
So I scooped up Rogue One, and because I was already ordering something from Amazon, I was like, I may as well get Logan as well. So I upgraded Logan, and I upgraded The Town.
Oh, okay.
Both of my Blu-ray spines on those movies were like faded because the sun had hit them. And I was really tired of looking at them.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes, man. And then I did some damage at Barnes & Noble because they were having a couple sales.
A sale on what?
They were doing a sale on Paramount 4Ks and Blu-rays and a sale on foreign films through Radiance and Arrow.
Okay, cool. Anything exciting?
I got Double Jeopardy on 4K.
Oh, baby. The Paramount Presents?
Yeah. It was only $13. How could I pass it up?
Damn. On 4K?
Yeah.
What the
I also upgraded Pulp Fiction because that was only $13 as well.
Nice.
And I'd just gotten those other new Tarantinos. I also grabbed this movie, The Cat from Radiance. It is a German movie. Honestly, the little write-up of the movie on Diabolik is winner of the best direction at the German Film Awards. The Cat is an undiscovered treasure, and Radiance Film is proud to present it on Blu-ray for the first time outside Germany. Two robbers hold up a bank and its employees demanding 3 million marks for their ransom. Some reviews of it: technically perfectly staged, exciting gangster film thriller, remarkable as an independent German genre film with exceptional acting performances and technical skill.
Awesome. The last thing I need is more cats in my life, but let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
We still need to do a cat episode.
We do. We're going to do an episode all about cats.
What about you, Kurt? What have you picked up anything? Gotten any packages delivered?
I ordered The Beyond.
Mhm.
I also ordered a few from Orbit, including The Long Kiss Goodnight,
Oh, hell yeah.
Prospect, Sam, the Vinegar Syndrome sci-fi release that we talked about last time, and a little movie called U571 because my good buddy Sam told me how fun it is, and I can't wait.
Yeah, man. Get yourself a whiskey, sit your little booty down, get submarined.
Also, Sam, we talked a little bit about this off mic this morning. This is fascinating. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I pre-ordered Kino Lorber's 4K of Daylight, which we've talked about on this show before. And apparently they have not recalled, but like put this out of print already.
I think it's a rights issue or something, but yeah, they're like routinely going for like $200-$300 on eBay at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. There's also a rumor that Dante's Peak is just not happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be standing on the edge of a large building until that's confirmed one way or the other.
If anybody knows the president of Kino Lorber, please give them our numbers. Speaking of Kino Lorber,
it's time to talk Brian De Palma's Snake Eyes.
we are back, joined by my good friend and violin extraordinaire, Emma Tiemann. Emma, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, everyone.
Thanks for being here.
We are, as mentioned earlier, going to dissect 1998's Brian De Palma's insane Nick Cage masterpiece, question mark?
Period.
Snake Eyes.
Yes.
I was going to try to do a bit where I was going to act like I watched the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie for like the first 40 minutes of this pod, but I don't think it would work.
40 minutes. Wow.
What a bit. It's really hard to Google Brian De Palma's masterpiece Snake Eyes without having to navigate around the G.I. Joe movie, I found.
Less of a masterpiece.
Emma,
Yes.
true or false, you have been on some type of research investigation into the filmography of Nicolas Cage. You've watched them all. You're watching them all. Tell us.
Yes. Two friends and I have decided over almost, over a year ago, to watch every single Nicolas Cage movie in chronological order.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. We just were like, it actually started because we ended up at a themed trivia night that was Nicolas Cage based.
Okay.
We were kind of surprised by all of the movies that we hadn't seen. I don't know. Like, we knew there's a lot.
Do you have the number?
I do. We have a whole entire spreadsheet for this endeavor.
Love this.
Incredible.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I have his IMDb pulled up in front of me
All right,
now.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing he's been in 65. Way off.
Yeah, that's too low.
Isn't it like 122 or something?
I would guess like 200.
We are at, for 2025, including The Surfer, 111.
Damn.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many do you think you had seen prior to starting?
Oh, probably like 10, I guess.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
You know?
God.
Really low.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your relationship to him before you started?
Yeah.
So the ones I had seen and like obviously like really knew and be like stuck with me were like Raising Arizona, Face Off, Con Air. Yeah, when you think Nicolas Cage, you definitely like, I feel like Face Off and like those late 90s are what everyone like gravitates towards and like really knows. And that's where I was sitting with this for sure.
Those are favorites among this crowd for sure.
Yeah.
Kim loves Raising Arizona.
I do.
I love Face Off deeply.
Raising Arizona is a perfect movie. You know, I had never seen Moonstruck before starting this, and like that was such a treat.
One of my all times of him.
We have to highlight The Rock.
Oh, The Rock.
The
Yeah.
Rock is
The Rock is great.
Yeah. It's also just been really interesting seeing this process from beginning to, I mean, my friends and I like kind of just crossed over halfway in the catalog.
Damn, so what was the last movie of his you got? Like, where are you guys at in the filmography?
We are in the dark times.
Oh, no.
Like
Are
he's
it-
in debt times?
Yes.
Okay.
We are in the bad place real hard. I'm in 2017 right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. Our setup for this is that we watch 4 movies a month, like however we can. We don't try to like check in or, have solid times. Like for us watching this, we have the spreadsheet and
It's not like a book club.
it's not, no, it's like we watch them when we can. And like some of it is like, hey guys, I'm going in for 3 today. And we kind of just like text each other as we are experiencing it ourselves.
Damn, so are you at Vengeance, a Love Story?
Yes, I am.
Oh no.
Damn, what's up with Vengeance, a Love Story?
It's not a 0 only because the movie that holds a 0 on this list is so egregiously bad, but it is a 0.5 situation.
Whoa, no.
That is a bad one.
It's on Blu-ray, Sam.
Damn, dude, when are we doing
MVD?
Vengeance, a Love Story pod?
Wait, what's the 0?
Yeah, what is the 0?
Oh my gosh. The 0 is Time to Kill. Not A Time to Kill. Time to Kill.
Is it like Time to Kill? Or is it Time to Kill?
No, it is Time to Kill.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
This one was difficult to find. I don't think it's like scrubbed, but we definitely had to watch it from like a Russian streaming website type of situation. It is a nightmare story of Nicolas Cage being a fascist Italian soldier during an Ethiopian war and his experience with like a local woman there that is not good, and him thinking that he like is it okay if I spoil this terrible movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Oh, this is like 89.
Yeah, no, this is super early.
This is not the dark phase.
He plays a man named Enrico Silvestri.
And guess what? So he's an Italian soldier, not an accent to be seen anywhere
Hell yeah.
in this film.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he like falls in love with this Ethiopian woman and then kills her basically, and then decides he has syphilis and is going crazy and like is having all of these experiences where he's like spiraling, and then this other Ethiopian man like saves him in this hut. And then it's like, JK, you don't have syphilis and you're going home and everything's fine and there's 0 repercussions like for any of your actions. Like it is,
God.
it's terrible. It's really terrible.
It's really interesting. It falls right between Vampire's Kiss and Wild at Heart.
Yes.
I wonder what the thinking was behind it. Maybe he thought it would be great. It's after Moonstruck, too.
But then even after Wild at Heart, he does that Firebirds movie, which is like unwatchable as well.
Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Dude, yeah, I bought it from Kino at one point and got about 25 minutes into it. And I was like, I cannot do this.
Well, according to sneak previews / PBS's Michael Medved, it's a rousing rock'em sock'em aerial adventure. If I enjoyed Top Gun, I'll have a great time, according to him, Sam. So.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
That one was a 1.5 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our rating system out of 5 faces. And then whether or not Nicolas Cage is smoochable in a movie.
Interesting. Oh my God, I can't wait. Don't say it yet, but I can't wait for the Snake Eyes review of this.
Whether or not the movie is based in New Orleans, because so many of them are.
He lives there, right? Or has a house there?
He has his pyramid tomb
That's
there.
right. That's right.
But he also he's bought property there. Yeah, whether or not there's boobs in the movie, and whether or not there's an abortion subplot in the movie, because that was like that kept showing up in the early ones.
What the fuck? What?
It's a perfect rating system, honestly.
That is so funny.
I give this 2 abortions.
And there is an abortion situation in Time to Kill, and we're just like, oh
of
my
course there
God.
is. Oh, God.
How did you do with The Bad Lieutenant? Did you like that?
Let's see. And these just like do get erased from my brain. That one was, I didn't mind that one. I gave that one like a solid middle score.
Okay.
How did you feel about the iguana vision in Bad Lieutenant?
Oh my God.
His personal iguanas.
Yeah, his pets.
I did love
Wow.
that. I watched that alone, and Steven came home, and I was like, I showed him that scene specifically, and I was like, you have to see what has happened on screen.
I think, honestly, that's top 5 for me, that one. He is amazing in that movie.
Like it's a top 5 Nick Cage movie or it's a top 5 Nick Cage performance?
For me, both.
Okay.
And how many do you have left then? Did you say you're halfway through?
Yeah, it's like 80. I'm at 80.
That's
Jeez.
so wild.
Yeah. I've watched 80 of these.
I'll make sure to send you like 600 copies of World Trade Center.
Oh my
I have
God.
a question. One I've never seen that I've always been curious about, because Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars is like a sci-fi called Knowing.
Oh, Knowing?
What's up with that?
Oh, that one was actually pretty
I love
good.
that one.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
great one.
Yeah. That one
Yeah.
that's legit.
Damn, Sam.
Dude.
Where's our Knowing episode?
It's what's his face? Proyas.
Oh, shit. It's the guy who made The Crow.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's Dark City, The Crow.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
it's a great
I,
movie.
Robot.
It's underrated.
Dog, what are we doing? Knowing.
I will say the one that recently surprised me was Dog Eat Dog. That has William Dafoe in it as well. And the opening scene of it is like this crazy surrealist thing happening. Like it's super wild. And I wouldn't say it's like a super Nick Cagey film. Like it's a crime buddies doing the one last job kind of situation.
Sign me up.
And it's like real dumb, but it's really interesting and like very watchable, even though you're just like, what's happening here?
Dude, Paul Schrader made this movie.
Dog Eat Dog?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Just like watch the first like 5 minutes at the very least. Like just finding that and watching that it's fascinating.
I mean, I'm so
buying
into
Dog Eat
this.
Dog
Yeah.
and Knowing right now.
This is going to be an expensive episode. So have you gotten to Mandy yet?
No, I'm like right coming up to Mandy.
Mandy, I feel like, is when it turns.
And have you seen Mandy?
I have not seen Mandy.
Oh, okay, cool.
shit.
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mandy is kind of the beginning of a renaissance.
Come back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was doing some research before this because I couldn't remember like what's the timeline for him and his debt situation, you know? And it kind of seems like from 2017 is when it kind of like peaked and where he was saying just yes to anything and everything.
Yeah.
And I think it says until like 2022 where he's like, now I'm going to be more selective of what I'm doing. But to see like Mandy and a few other things that are kind of still like stuck in that nebulous era of his are nice, like good movies compared to some of the other stuff.
Look, for all the troubled stories that come out of Hollywood, getting into debt because you bought a castle and a dinosaur fossil,
A pyramid to be buried in.
and then you acted your way out of that debt by doing as many movies as possible. I fucking love Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, man.
I respect him so much.
Dude, the Surfer movie that's coming out in a couple weeks or a month looks awesome with him.
Yeah, I mean, keep him coming.
Yeah.
Well, nothing but respect for this journey you're on.
Thank you.
I feel like maybe you should have gone backwards because I feel like it's a real uphill climb for a while.
Yeah.
There's too many peaks and valleys, man.
That's
like
true.
his filmography is insane because you'll get like a couple good ones, and then just even looking at his more recent stuff, you get to like Prisoners of the Ghostland and Willy's Wonderland. Like those movies are awful. Prisoners of the Ghostland is like impossibly hard to sit through. You know, those are both 2021, 2022.
But then you get the Croods, Sam.
Oh my god! Yeah. Then you get the Croods. I couldn't. The Croods is an animated movie about like cave people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
All right, triple feature episode: Knowing the Croods and Dog Eat Dog.
Oh, you know, it's not to totally derail. Continuing, I will say the other like really like the surprise recently was watching the documentary of The Death of Superman Lives.
Oh, I've seen clips from that, but I've not seen the whole thing.
It's fascinating. I feel like everyone's seen that video or those photos of Nick Cage in the costume.
Mm-hmm.
But then to hear, because most of it's talking to Tim Burton and then the producer guy of just hearing these people talk about the process of trying to make that and just what happened is so cool.
Wow, I don't think I knew about this documentary.
Yeah.
Have you seen that footage of him, Kurt?
I have, like in the costume fitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
That long ass hair he's got.
Oh my God.
Amazing. Was he going to have long hair in the film?
Yeah, that era of Superman, he like died in the early 90s and he comes back, and when he came back, for whatever reason, his hair was longer.
I saw an incredible video on Instagram the other day behind the scenes of, I think, Batman Returns, where Batman is just on the phone in the Batcave.
Oh, I
just
saw
a
this.
regular old telephone. He and Tim Burton are trying to find the most natural way to play the scene where Batman is just on the phone, where it doesn't look completely silly. And it really made me laugh. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Snake Eyes.
Emma, had you seen this movie before you started your project?
Yes, I had seen this one.
One of the 10.
One of the 10.
Respect.
When was the last time you had seen it?
It had been years ago before I started this whole thing.
Kurt, I remember you were waiting for this on Blu-ray for a long time, right?
Oh, Sam, not only that, this movie was on Blu-ray.
Oh, wait, yeah.
And then
I
went
remember this.
very out of print at a time in my life where I was a little more logical and stable with my financial decisions regarding out of print titles. And so I didn't go on eBay and just buy it. I waited and waited and waited and kept going to Amoeba, kept going to the Brian De Palma section in Amoeba. Every time I was in there, that's the first place I'd go. They never had it. And finally, I caved, bought a copy on eBay.
How much did you spend on it?
It probably wasn't crazy by today's standards.
What
let's put it
we
that
do
way.
now? Yeah.
It was a prized possession of mine until they announced it on Kino. And then I, swapped it.
The last time I watched this movie, it was probably 1999 or 2000.
Damn.
I was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I watched it on VHS. All I remembered was the ending, which is not how the movie ends.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is among my favorite movie posters of all time.
Him like leaning in towards the camera.
He's looking like up as if he's looking into a security camera, basically. If you're imagining, what they would have been referencing from this movie. There's a lot of security cameras involved in the storytelling. So it's Nicolas Cage, waist up, looking up into the camera. And he's wearing this incredible outfit in this movie, which is a brown suit with a yellow and brown open collar, big collared floral shirt. And then on this poster, he's surrounded by purple. And it says in the same font, same scale, without even a space between the first two words, it just says Cage Snake Eyes. And Cage is in lime green. And then all the text is in orange. It says, believe everything but your eyes. Watch closely August 7th. And so it's just this vibrant color. I loved Nick Cage, and I remember being tractor beamed to this cover. And yeah, I think I saw it for the first time at that same time, Sam, on VHS.
Yeah, so this is a movie that follows... pretty immediately starts following Nick Cage as he is like moving and shaking, making deals and shaking hands with a bunch of important people at a boxing ring. Well, there is a tropical storm happening outside, and this is in Atlantic City. Nick Cage, we find out pretty quickly, is a cop, kind of a dirty cop. He is like betting on this fight that's about to happen. I don't know. What is he trying to do? The beginning of this movie's performance is insane.
His performance?
Yeah. He's like on cocaine up to his eyes, and he's just like moving and shaking through this whole thing. He keeps bumping into like the prize fighter and screaming his name at him and dancing around him and clapping his hands and just losing it completely.
This movie's directed by Brian De Palma, whose movie before this was Mission Impossible 1. There's a lot of Mission Impossible 1 vibes in this movie.
Damn, I didn't realize it was the one right after that.
The first, I don't even know how long it is, but the first 20 minutes of this movie perhaps is presented as one big tracking shot through this stadium that's filled with people, filled with life, and you're following Nicolas Cage around as, yes, he's placing bets on the fight. He knows the boxer from high school, or they went to the same school, and so he's trying to get his attention and see if he recognizes him, and he's busting people. He's talking to, cheerleaders. He's on the phone with his girlfriend. He's talking about his wife to somebody else, and eventually he finds his seat in the front row of this fight, and he's next to his best friend, who's played by Gary Sinise, who is a naval
admiral.
Naval admiral. And Gary Sinise is with the Secretary of Defense. And he's sort of his bodyguard and in charge of running the security detail for the defense secretary at this fight. Let's talk about the style at the beginning of this movie.
It's a long take, right?
It's presented as one. There's cuts and stuff hidden in it, but it's a long take that's in the middle of a stadium filled with, according to the commentary track on this Blu-ray, 14,000 extras.
That is insane.
And it feels like it. It's bizarre to watch now in a world where you don't get crowd shots like that anymore. It's all just CGI, crowd replication, things like that. except for the Odyssey, apparently, which is shooting with like 5,000 extras right now. Do you guys remember seeing this for the first time, or your reaction to seeing this for the first time, this opening?
I don't remember the first time seeing it, but I will say watching it most recently for the project. Yeah, so excited by that and so interested for that whole opening and that space. And I watched it for this last night. I started it last night, and while we actually had our own tropical storm happening here in St. Louis.
Nice.
Which is super great. Steven was with me. My partner Steven was with me. And it's like the opening is so good. And he was like, yeah, this is what you do with a budget. Like, this is the shit that you do with a budget that is so effective and so fun, that you don't get to like see or experience as much anymore, for sure.
It's all on the screen. It's so immersive.
Yeah.
It's such like an adrenaline rush, this opening. It's just like nonstop. Mm-hmm. Also, the planning that it took to film this must have been outrageous. I feel so bad for that crew.
It's also really fun to see Nicolas Cage have such a long leash in a shot like this. He's just bouncing around, dancing around, pointing all over the place, spinning, screaming, running. And they mention on this commentary, they quote Nicolas Cage from an interview at the time about how challenging that was to sort of be choreographed with the camera and the timing of everything, which is very specific, but it feels so loose.
When he like sees Lincoln Tyler in that hallway and he's like, go Tyler, go Tyler, go Tyler. I was losing my mind, dude. It is so funny.
During this fight,
which is so well shot at the beginning because we don't see, as the audience, the camera is just on Nick Cage and Gary Sinise, and the fight is happening in the background. Like, you don't see the fight at all.
It's behind us, behind the camera.
Yeah. So you're watching them watch the fight. The way that it's set up is very, very Hitchcockian, especially with De Palma and how the rest of the movie goes after this.
Gary Sinise gets up to go confront a red-headed woman in the front row who looks suspicious. She runs off as soon as he starts talking to her, and Gary Sinise chases her. So there's a seat open in front of the Secretary of Defense. Immediately, a blonde woman, like a bleach blonde woman, comes over, sits down, and starts talking to the senator. And they exchange an envelope. Nicolas Cage is sort of watching Gary Sinise go, watching the fight, kind of paying attention to what's going on with this blonde woman. And then all of a sudden, shots ring out. Secretary of Defense is shot in the throat. This blonde woman is shot in the arm. Nicolas Cage drops down to the ground, pulls out a gun. We see a shooter up on the second story, and he's shot multiple times by Gary Sinise. So there's been an assassination attempt on the Secretary of Defense. He's dying, but not quite dead yet. And the rest of this movie is an investigation into this sort of conspiracy assassination on the Secretary of Defense. Led by who?
The Nicolas Cage.
Not only is he kind of paying attention to the blonde woman, he says, hey, that seat's taken. She turns to him and goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, oh, well, you can sit here, and opens his lap. And she goes, it's only going to take a minute. And she goes,
it'll only take me a couple seconds.
And he says, me too.
Yeah.
And I fell off the couch.
That's all I need.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
So I love this movie. I think that it has an energy unlike pretty much anything. I think the combination of Brian De Palma's style, pacing, energy with Nicolas Cage is just dynamite. His character in this movie is really fun because he sort of fluctuates between go Tyler, like high version of him that we see in things like Bad Lieutenant or whatever else. There's the very famous kind of YouTube Nick Cage losing his shit video. The stuff we love from him that we don't get from anyone else.
When he goes through the alphabet in Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah. To detective mode. Very serious, good at his job, determined to figure out this problem, this assassination, this mystery.
I honestly think that right there is like what made this movie work for me this time around. And again, I hadn't seen this in probably close to 20 years, if not more. His ability to make that switch halfway through the movie when he's trying to put it all together and figure everything out is really awesome. And it really just proves that while Nick Cage is over the top and can be very goofy, he is actually like a very talented actor. And you believe him as both roles. You believe him as the detective who's kind of dirty and trying to spin things to his own advantage. And then you also believe him as the eccentric, psycho, probably gets high on his own supply a little too much.
Yeah, I feel like going through and watching everything and really seeing how the directing of Nicolas Cage matters so much. And for all the things that you guys just said, like, we're getting Cage, like the elevated Cage actions that we all know, but it's not too much. Like, it's so, he's towing the line so well. And the switch with it he's not being too serious versus, watching him trying to be like a medieval knight. And you're just like, nothing can go, I feel like, too hard in either direction for him. There has to be some levity because it's Nicolas Cage and we know him and we know, there's expectations and there are believable limits, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But then also, like, Sam, you mentioning Vampire's Kiss, of that just being like a fully like off the rails, unhinged situation that does at times, like, it is too much. And like, it's so fun, but finding that center and giving him some parameters is like, it's so nice when it works so well.
Yeah, I mean, he's fluctuating sometimes even in the same scene between almost cartoonish character actor like heights to absolute movie star. It's not too serious, like you said. It's just movie star. He's right on point for being the vessel through this story. There's a particular scene where he's interrogating the fighter. Lincoln Tyler is his name. Tyler's surrounded by his entourage, his lawyer, and they're in a back room of Tyler's, suite inside of the stadium where he's getting ready before the fight. And Nicolas Cage it's almost like every other line is between, he's either talking to the lawyer or he's talking to Tyler. And when he's talking to Tyler, he's excited and like trying to get him to remember that they went to the same school and trying to get him to sign an autograph for his kid and just bubbly and bright. And then he's like turning to the lawyer and he's like serious cop movie star. And it's literally just ping ponging in the same shots, just back and forth, these two totally different tones, and his range and control over that. I don't know who else could do that. They originally, I believe, I don't know if they offered it to John Travolta or if it was just kind of conceived for him, but that was originally the plan, was Travolta.
That might work, though.
They also mentioned in the commentary Mel Gibson was considered.
Oh, dear.
That wouldn't have worked. Yeah. No, he was too busy making Flight Risk.
He was too busy planning Flight Risk in 98. Another crazy casting bit is they got very far, I think, with Will Smith playing Gary Sinise's role.
Wow.
Oh.
According to the commentary track, I think it was the success of Men in Black that led Will Smith to ask for more money, and they couldn't do it or wouldn't do it. So they brought in Gary Sinise, which I think is fine. I think is perfect casting, for this.
I feel like the role is like too much of a straight man for Will Smith, especially coming off of Men in Black. He is like kind of like dopey, funny one in that movie. And Gary Sinise's character is like not really having any fun at all in this movie.
Yeah.
He has like one zinger about Nicolas Cage shoplifting or something.
We're going to get into spoiler territory here on 1998's Snake Eyes, FYI. So if you're looking for a pure experience of Snake Eyes and you've never seen it, tune out now and tune back in after. Gary Sinise is revealed, of course, to be behind this assassination. It is all about an air defense system for the military that they are trying to sell through with the approval of the Secretary of Defense. It's revealed that the results of this air defense testing has been doctored to make it seem more successful than it actually was. The blonde woman who is shot in the arm alongside the Secretary of Defense is played by Carla Gugino, and she works for this defense company and is basically a whistleblower about the cover-up that this defense system doesn't work. And Gary Sinise, in sort of like a Ed Harris in The Rock sort of way, is doing whatever he can to push through this defense system because he believes it will work. It just needs to have the bugs worked out of it.
This doesn't really have anything to do with Ed Harris in The Rock.
Well, his whole character in The Rock is doing everything for soldiers, which is what Gary Sinise is doing too. He believes that.
I think Gary Sinise is doing this for money.
You think so?
Yeah.
In that big speech he gives about the sinking ship.
He doesn't give a shit about those dudes. He just wants money.
Yeah, I think that's a ploy.
Damn. Hey, in the words of Carla Gugino, I'm naive. And in the words of Nicolas Cage, there's worse things to be.
Is that at the very end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love so much the staging and direction of the scene when you realize Gary Sinise is the bad guy. It's sort of part of a longer Steadicam shot. He's walking with Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is, off to do something else. Camera sort of pans, watches him go, and then turns back. And now we're alone with Gary Sinise, and the strings sort of start changing mood. Mm-hmm. And we're tracking back and watching Gary Sinise walk into a hallway, and he goes into a foreboding looking authorized personnel door where, of course, the lighting behind the door is just blood red. He walks in, and then it cuts to him kind of going downstairs, and we see like a Dutch angle of him looking ominous. At this point, you see the people involved in the assassination. The redheaded woman is not redheaded. They're working for him. It's just a great, almost over the top, but just right in the sweet spot of De Palma's kind of control over a theatrical tone that never really becomes too much, in my opinion, in this movie.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the costumes are just left over from Scarface, so they might be a little too much, like Nicolas Cage's suit.
I'm telling you, man, they gave us that great poster though.
They're in Atlantic City. Come on.
Yeah.
Also fair.
It's fight night, Grind.
It's New Jersey.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, it's loud. It's a lot. I mean, the camera basically never stops moving the entire movie. It is all over the place, which really gives a driving energy to the rest of the movie and the whole just kinetic energy of the fight and trying to put everything together. After the shots ring out, the entire arena shuts down. Carla Gugino's character is trying to get out of this arena the whole time because she still has this file that has the real results of the missile test in there, and she knows she's being hunted down by somebody. But also we should mention that in the assassination attempt, she loses her glasses, and the rest of the movie has to be basically touching foreheads with people to make out any concerning.
It's really fun because a staple of Brian De Palma movies is the POV shot. So he'll do Steadicam shots where the lens is literally the eyeballs of the character. It happens in tons of his movies. It happens in this one many times. There's a long sequence where we're the perspective of Tyler the fighter. And whenever he goes to the perspective of Carla Gugino after she loses her glasses, the camera's just totally out of focus.
Yeah. And at one point, she's standing in front of a TV because the news is playing, and a guy's basically down in front, and she looks down and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know there was another TV down there." She's standing in a wall of TVs, and it's crazy, dude.
I would also like to mention that this screenplay was written by David Koepp, who we did not mention on last week's episode, but is the screenwriter of Panic Room. He also wrote, obviously not the book, but the screenplay for Jurassic Park, and worked with Brian De Palma writing the screenplays for Carlito's Way and Mission Impossible 1.
David Koepp is also working with Soderbergh right now. Didn't he just write Presence and Black Bag?
That is correct. He also directed a movie called Secret Window, starring Johnny Depp, that once upon a time I was obsessed with.
I got in a car accident on my way to see that movie.
Really?
Yeah. My high school girlfriend and my mom, because I only had my driver's permit, not my license.
You were driving as a permitted driver and got into an accident?
Yeah, somebody hit me. I didn't cause the accident.
Sure.
That's not what I heard.
Sure.
Yo, what's up with Secret Window?
Dude.
Kimmy?
He also wrote a movie called Kimmy.
Oh.
Directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Wow.
There's a bunch of great character actors in this movie.
You got John Hurd, who's the owner of the casino, who's also the dad in Home Alone. We mentioned Carla Gugino. Stan Shaw plays Lincoln Tyler, the fighter.
Stan Shaw in a little movie called Daylight.
What you know about Daylight, dog? You got Kevin Dunn as a sleazy news anchor.
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about the fact that Gary Sinise plays a character named Kevin Dunn, and Kevin Dunn, the actor, is also in this movie?
I didn't even put that together right now.
That's so insane.
Oh my God.
You think on set, Gary Sinise was only refer to me as Kevin Dunn. And Kevin Dunn was what the fuck, man?
I read that Kevin Dunn and Gary Sinise's hotel rooms were switched accidentally on the set of this movie because of that confusion. And Kevin Dunn, the actor, showed up to a dope suite and was stoked about it. And then they had to tell him, wait, sorry. No, sorry. That's not for you. And he had to go to a motel.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
Like, oh shit, we fucked up and the hotel's completely booked. We got you this janitorial closet.
That's so rude. Here's a tent.
Tamara Tooney is in this movie. She's the first person we see. She plays a pay-per-view anchor who's standing outside in this storm. Tamara Tooney is, of course, from our beloved The Devil's Advocate. And I just saw her in Flight.
I was just going to say she's great in Flight.
Who else? Mike Starr is the guy who eats hot peppers in Dumb and Dumber and dies. And then last but not least, Michael Rispoli, who people will know from The Sopranos. I just saw him in a little movie called The Juror. Yo, The Juror.
Oh my God.
You might want to wedge The Juror somewhere into your Nicolas Cage experiment here.
Oh God.
Emma, even though it has nothing to do with Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. It's not even,
We highly recommend it.
But we all love Michael Rispoli, of course, from While You Were Sleeping as Joe Jr.
Also, Luis Guzman pops up in this movie for a hot
Luis
second.
Guzman. Yeah, hell yeah.
He's the drug dealer who gets beat up by Nick Cage at the very beginning.
I fucking love Luis Guzman.
He's the best.
All right, let's talk about the ending.
Okay.
Do you guys know anything about the ending of this movie? The original ending?
No.
Did you find yourselves confused at all during this movie when Nicolas Cage was talking about drowning in a tunnel at the end?
Yeah. There was like a moment there where like I didn't really... This is the one time where I lost myself in the casino. I like don't understand where they are or like the room that he locks her in.
Mm-hmm.
John Hurd, who we mentioned, he owns this arena. It's mentioned at the very beginning. One of the first things you hear in this movie is Tamara Tooney telling the audience watching on pay-per-view that this is the swan song fight of this arena. This is the last fight that this arena is going to host before it's demolished and turned into sort of a super casino hotel situation. John Hurd owns the Missile Defense Company and is also going to be the owner of this structure, or he already owns the arena and is the one in charge of rebuilding it. The money to pay for this project is going to come from the sale of this missile defense to the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. So John Hurd is in cahoots with Gary Sinise to pull off this assassination. Where they are at the end is all happening in sort of the construction zone, I think, of like this new plan starting.
Okay.
They have cement trucks and stuff outside. Carla Gugino is sort of hidden by Nicolas Cage in a shipping container, I believe is what that is.
Oh, that's what that is?
Oh.
I think so. Is it not? That the thing comes through at the end?
It literally looked like a utility closet that was made out of balsa wood.
It's just part of that construction zone. I think that's just meant to be ambiguous, like this is where the building's happening. Or even, it might even be just sort of a warehouse for the arena. You know, there's scenes where they're beating them up and stuff around shipping boxes or whatever. The production design of this movie, I love so much. I think that the set designs are so great. There's a chase scene that happens where Carla Gugino is hiding in a hotel room on the upper floors of this casino. And Gary Sinise is trying to find her. Nicolas Cage is trying to find her. And the hallways that they're in are these sort of Persian looking design that are real, but then they have, painted extensions of the set. So you're looking down the hallway and like the first, say, 4 hotel doors with the columns kind of between each one are real, but then they've painted a backdrop behind them to look like these hallways just go on and on and on. And they're really convincing. My favorite set, though, in this movie is a conference room.
Oh, yeah.
That Nicolas Cage and Gary Sinise go into to sort of talk about the case and, have a private moment. It's sort of this steely, dark blue walled area. And the only thing in it is a very large diorama of what will be this new casino and hotel. That is made out of translucent sort of plastic. It's like this huge, very modern looking structure. Around it is real water to represent, the ocean that it's sitting on the front of. A huge, bright orange translight sunset that contrasts like super starkly with the rest of the room. And then the boardwalk itself sticks out from that wall alongside this diorama and comes into the room and sort of gets bigger as it comes out into the room and serves as the conference table. And it's just this amazing room and design and colorful. In HDR, this room looks insane.
I think this room is based off the like conference room in Scarface when Tony's in like the white suit with the reddish Hawaiian shirt on and he shoots that dude with the silencer when his arm's in a sling.
That background for sure has that vibe.
It's got the same background, and where the camera is placed in both movies is like extremely similar.
But it's this amazing visualization of what this whole thing is about. There's a great scene where John Hurd and Gary Sinise are in there arguing later about the plan going wrong and whatever, but it's all for money to build this hotel.
Just what Atlantic City needs.
The end of this movie. The storm is getting worse. They keep kind of referencing that as the movie goes on. There's this huge globe, like the world, globe on top of this hotel. It looks like the boulder from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Or some might say the massive globe in Scarface.
There you go. It has fallen off the building and it's sitting on the boardwalk. It's getting blown around by the storm.
I do want to point out that we actually never see this globe on the building. It starts out on the ground and stays there.
Gary Sinise is chasing Nicolas Cage, who they've beaten almost to death. He's got a tracker on him that is not subtle whatsoever.
No.
They beat the shit out of Nicolas Cage and they put a tracker that's like the size of a quarter and it's bright red and blinking and beeping. And they just stick it to his back. The
like
back of his shirt.
His shoulder blades. Like truly.
It's like a kick me sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
It's just so obvious.
Excuse me, sir, there's a tracker on your back.
Hey, there's something blinking on the back of your jacket.
Gary Sinise is following him around. It seems the way that they stage this that Gary Sinise is only about 20 feet away at all times, but he keeps looking down at his little tracker screen.
Yes. And Nicolas Cage is like mumbling to himself. He's
Yeah,
like,
he's
his like
messed
eyes
up.
kind of droopy, and he's like
limping around.
Yeah, exactly.
Gary Sinise can see him the whole time, but he's just like, yep, he's still there on the tracker.
Yeah.
There's a part where right after they beat him up, Gary Sinise is screaming at him that he's, you're not a hero. The minute you get into the spotlight, you're going to burn up because of all the corruption that's behind you. They're going to dig all that up. He's trying to convince him to go along with the plan. Nicolas Cage won't do it. And Nicolas Cage spits blood all over Gary Sinise's military medals.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the last straw. Gary Sinise hits him once, knocks him out, and Nicolas Cage is slumped over, knocked out with his eyes open across, I don't know, bags of flour, whatever it is. And Gary Sinise has like one more thing to say to him or something. I don't know what he says, but he grabs Nicolas Cage by the back of his hair and pulls him up. And Nicolas Cage's eyes are open and he's completely knocked out. And the look on his face, I remembered as soon as I watched this again, my friend Danny, when I was a little kid, we used to rewind this scene and play it over and over and just laugh our asses off at Nick Cage at this part. It's so funny.
That's hilarious because I rewound this while watching it.
There you go.
It made me laugh so much.
Gary Sinise catches up with Nicolas Cage, who has the code to this storage container, whatever the hell Carla Gugino is hiding in. This is cross-cutting with the storm is getting worse. Tamara Tooney's outside doing one more weather report newscast thing. Behind her is this giant globe, which is starting to pick up speed and rolling toward them from the hurricane. The cops are coming in from the other side. Everything's closing in. There's a shot from the outside. Okay, this is so insane to me. There's a shot from the outside where a giant tidal wave hits the casino. A giant tidal wave. And then it cuts to Nicolas Cage and Carla Gugino breaking out of this container, out into the street, into the rain. Right as the cops pull up, Gary Sinise follows them outside. He's got a silenced pistol. The cops start pointing their gun at him. We cut to the newscast perspective. Gary Sinise has lost. He's trying to get Nick Cage to one more time go with the plan, convince him that he's not a bad guy. Gary Sinise says, "Tell him we're all good," or whatever. Nick Cage, with his droopy eye, says, Sam?
Ain't no we, Kevin. You get sneakers.
It dissolves to more newscast style footage. We see...
Well, Gary Sinise shoots himself in the heart.
Yeah, that happens.
He shoots himself in the heart because he doesn't want to go to jail.
Why the heart? That seems like...
He shoots himself in the heart because his back is to the cops. He's trying to get back inside the door and run away. And so in order to avoid, them shooting him in the leg or something to stop him from killing himself, he hides the gun from their perspective, and shoots himself in the heart. It dissolves into the future a little bit. We see Nicolas Cage winning an award for his valor from the police department. And as Gary Sinise predicted, he's in the spotlight now. And we dissolve a little further in time and see that he's under investigation. And a little further in time, he's under indictment. And then the last scene of this movie is on the boardwalk in front of the construction site.
Yep.
Which is going through? Or they're repairing the casino, maybe? They're probably just repairing it.
Yeah, I'm unclear of what... It is in front of the casino on the boardwalk, and it's boarded up, but I am unclear on where the project is.
There's a whole construction crew in the background. Nicolas Cage is looking out at the water, and Carla Gugino returns and walks up to him, and they have a little romantic dialogue exchange. We find out that Nicolas Cage is going to be upstate for 12 to 18 months, serving some time, and they might go on a date once he gets back.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage mentions having dreams about the night that the movie takes place on, that he's still haunted by dreams or whatever, and says something along the lines of, while I was drowning in that tunnel, in my dream, I do drown, I think is what he says. And you're like, what? Drowning in a tunnel? What are you talking about? Gary Sinise chases you into a shipping container and you run out onto the street with Carla Gugino. And apparently, presumably, tied to this shot of a tidal wave hitting the casino that nothing happens from, they removed an entire sequence in post-production where the casino is flooded.
Did they actually shoot it?
According to the internet, they removed it in post. So yeah.
Oh.
That's weird.
Wow.
And this scene on the boardwalk is one shot. It's just one locked off, very long take dialogue between Carla Gugino and Nicolas Cage. So there's no place to edit. They couldn't take that out.
Mm-hmm.
And the facts here, it says the original ending, which was a massive special effects sequence created by Industrial Light and Magic, involved a huge tidal wave going through the casino. This ending was cut out in post, which is crazy.
Wow.
Maybe also kind of feels like why the last scene with them on the boardwalk feels like the most tacked on thing in the movie.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
I think that they just probably didn't want to invest in any type of reshoot ending.
Was this movie successful?
According to Wikipedia, it has a box office of 104-ish million against a $73 million budget. So probably not considered that successful. But in my heart...
Where does this sit on your Nicolas Cage rankings?
Like overall?
Yeah, well, actually, I want to know what the rating from your guys' spreadsheet is on this movie.
Yes, it's time. It's time.
I was actually surprised by this. This is another fascinating discovery doing this project with my two friends. It's just seeing how different we are reacting to these.
Sure.
Because this is a 4.5 for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
4.5 Nicolas Cage faces.
Oh, right.
It is 4.5 faces for me.
Perfect.
But yeah, Dustin and Andy both, they gave it a 2.5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've really discovered a lot about ourselves and our friendships doing this.
I think this movie is underrated. I think there are a lot of people who are in the 2.5 Nicolas Cage face zone that should not be.
Yeah, and it has such a low Rotten Tomato score and everything, which it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't agree with those.
I truly started at 7 a.m. yesterday because I had to watch it before work because I had no other time before recording. And, it's like, okay, I'm getting up early to watch this movie and then go to work. And I was there for it. Felt like a workout in the morning.
Yeah, it's like a caffeine boost.
Truly.
You're so amped going in now.
I feel great.
And I would say I don't have a ton of 4.5s. I have very few 5s also. But yeah, no, Snake Eyes is definitely is high up there for me.
What are the 5s?
Valley Girl.
I've never seen it.
It's really good.
Neither have I, actually.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like the first, he's in Fast Times for a blip, or two blips. Yeah. And then Valley Girl's the first movie that he's really in. And it's great. Raising Arizona is also a 5 for me. That is a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm.
Face Off.
Yeah, and then it's Face Off, Con Air, The Rock, Snake Eyes are all between 4.5 and 5s, those classic ones. Yeah.
Snake Eyes was recently released on 4K UHD from Kino Lorber. It is very, very nice looking 4K. Is that how you watch this, Sam?
It is, yeah. I picked it up specifically to do this episode. I was happy to revisit it. I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to add it to the shelf. Another beautiful 90s action thriller suspense movie from Kino.
Emma, where are you at on physical media, physical movies?
You know, I will say, when you guys started this podcast and I started listening to this podcast, I was like, I need to get back to this. I need to get back to physical copies.
Yes.
You guys really were an inspiration to that.
We're saving the world one person at a time here, Emma.
Truly. I'm such a gremlin when it comes to like media and things like that, though, where I don't know. I feel like I'm fine being scrappy with like, I just like don't give a shit about 4K and things like that.
Yeah,
you know,
most people don't.
I very much so care about ownership of media, you know. I have all the DVDs that I purchased like over the years. Like I never got rid of those. I still have some of my like very precious VHSs. I remember moving out of one of my apartments and a friend helping me, and she was just like, why do you have a VHS copy of The Three Amigos? And I was like,
oh my God, why wouldn't you?
What are you talking about? Like, what is your, excuse me? Like, this, because?
Yeah. Do I have to provide you with reasons?
Yeah. So I don't currently have a way to watch those DVDs, but truly like listening to this podcast, I was just like, I need to figure out a player again. I need to have a setup again, because I do really miss that. And I do really appreciate that stuff.
Hell yeah.
We'd love to hear it.
Emma, what a treat.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Our resident Nick Cage expert.
No, it was so fun. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you on a call-in when we do a knowing and dog eats dog, dog bites dog.
Yeah, dog eat dog.
Damn, Sam, we got to watch Dog Eat Dog.
Okay, Emma, where can everyone find you?
I am in a band called Murder by Death, and we just recorded a new record that will be out in June, I believe. We're on all the services and social medias and YouTube and all that stuff.
Truly one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're all a big fan here at PT Movie Pod.
I know, I was a fan and then weaseled my way into the band.
That's how we met, actually.
Yeah.
We met at a show a billion years ago.
That's awesome.
We have a new record coming out. We have a huge tour that kind of spans the summer and fall this year. And also kind of the biggest thing that would be great for people to support. We have a Kickstarter that starts March 21st, I believe, and will run, like a month or so. And that's how we support ourselves and like pay for records and things like that. And we've got a lot of cool stuff that will be included on throughout the Kickstarter. So yeah.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Sweet. Keep us posted on your journey. I want to know what you think of Mandy.
It's so silly, but one of my things is I'm really excited to design a t-shirt for us. Like once we've accomplished this, where it's just like, we've watched every Nicolas Cage movie.
I want one.
We did it.
We did it. This is our reward.
That's amazing.
One of my favorite t-shirts ever was designed and made by you.
Oh yeah.
So Sam Grimes, the worst thing since sliced bread.
Are those available for sale?
Yeah.
I can revamp that design. I can get that out there.
Before we go, Sam, it's time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that do not yet exist.
I think I've already wished for this, but I'm doing it again.
Sam, you've done that before. You can't keep doing that.
No, you need a fresh wish.
Has anybody wished for The Rock?
Yes.
You.
Freshen it up.
Think of something else. I wish for the biggest possible, most outrageous 4K release from Arrow or Second Sight
What is this gonna
of the
be?
Wicker Man remake on 4K starring Nicolas Cage. And I want it to be so expensive.
I wish for a 4K edition of The Indian Runner.
What's The Indian Runner?
It's a Sean Penn movie, and I've actually never seen it, but I've heard good things about
Penn?
it.
You don't like Sean Penn?
I don't. He's not my favorite.
Tell that to Carlito's Way, Sam.
Oh my God, with his curly ass hair in it. A Vietnam vet comes home to his small town and finds himself in conflict with the rules that his brother has vowed to uphold. I believe I heard about this movie for the first time on a podcast about Vietnam movies that The Ringer put out.
Mm-hmm.
And it stars, the two brothers are David Morse and Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, wow. Oh, Sean Penn directed it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I'm there for it. Sounds great. Sign me up.
I think Sean Penn is a very good director.
Except for The Crossing Guard, which actively sucks.
Got it. The Pledge rocks.
Yeah.
I have never seen the remake of The Wicker Man starring Nicolas Cage. I believe it is supposed to be absolutely terrible.
Saw it in theaters. It is absolutely terrible.
But I know if any of our favorite boutique labels were to put this out on 4K, I would be buying it in a heartbeat. And put me in that position. I dare you.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it for another episode of Physical Therapy. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you to Emma Tiemann from Murder by Death for sharing her journey through the Nicolas Cage experience with us.
Yeah, check out the band. They're going to be on tour, like Emma said. There's that new record dropping this summer. Should be a banger. We love them. We love you guys. Please give us a like, a review, or follow us on Instagram at PT Movie Pod.
Thank you to Kimberly for producing our podcast. Thank you to Patrick Laban for his incredible music.
Ooh, and next week, Bobby will be back, and we will be talking musicals. Maybe a couple shelf polls, maybe a couple shame pile polls.
An entirely sung episode.
Yeah.
We'll see you then.